Hi guys, in this video I will be showing how I painted rust on the blade of Witch Kinga II. For this process I think you will need basically 3 paints, but I will show you how you can use a little bit more to extend the palette. But in the same time I think painting the rust is very relaxing and powerful if it comes to the final result, if you will be using a little bit more of paints. So just quick comment on the paints. That's the set of all paints that I was using to have a rust effect for the blade. I'm starting with the walnut brown just to cover the whole area of the blade. Then I'm also doing the full, or I would say 70% of the area of that blade part, of that axe part, with Rhinox hide from Citadel. But you know, the key colors I would say that are really needed is the orange leather or Kalahari orange from Scale, or any type of I would say cold type of orange color. Then at the final stages I'm using just for final scratches or some dots, some very eye-catchy orange or some yellow, which is more warm, I would say, and I will show you how to apply this. But in basically, as I said, the 3 elements or 3 key paints are muddy brown, orange leather, and maybe Rhinox hide. So you can basically play with these. That image will be also available for you on the website. So let's start with painting the base of the rust. So at the beginning I will be using walnut brown from Reaper just to create the base coat for the whole rust area. And basically it's pretty straightforward, you just paint the whole area with that brown color. It's a very dark brown, so basically it's almost very close to the black, but I don't want to have here any black because it's, I would say, too dark, and I'm not using so much black color in this miniature. I'm using rather either very dark navy colors or very dark brown colors to build the contrast and the shades. So that's the base coat for the rust. I need to wait for the paint to dry a bit, and then I will be applying Rhinox hide from Citadel. And basically what is important about painting the blade the main body of an axe that is covered with rust is the direction of painting. So after applying the base coat, what I will be doing is I will be trying to paint all the time into the direction of, let's say, sun. So we will be going to the top. So you try to keep it horizontal, but you all the time go with the brush in that direction. So you go up every time. So in theory I should be painting this miniature if I would be not in front of the camera, in that way that I'm painting like that. Okay, so I go every time I go down, because I start with the small amount of paint on the top of the brush and then it stays at the end of the journey, so it stays somewhere here. Alright, but in order to show you this in a digestible and easy way to be presented, I'm just presenting like that. So I will be painting in this way, but just remember you go to the direction of the sun. Okay, so I'm taking Rhinox hide, and what is important when I was painting the rust, the more different oranges you will be using, it will be more, I would say, eye-catchy and more powerful, and try to use very much diluted paint. Wait a moment to dry, and then apply another layer, because in this way it will be not the same everywhere, but it will be, I would say, as it should be. So it should be a little bit of chaotic, as the rust in general it is. So I will be now painting with the Rhinox hide to build the main base of the rust. So let me try to start. So that's what I'm doing. So basically I will cover almost all part of that key body of the blade with rust of Rhinox hide. I just need to make sure that it's pretty well diluted. So again, as you can see, it's a little bit like, it's a very thin, it's almost like an ink or a shade type of paints from Citadel. So if you have this type of a brown color from inks, you could in theory also apply the ink if you want, if you prefer, and if you have it. If not, then just dilute this one. Here I will be just doing some dots, and because the rust doesn't have to be perfect, I think you don't have to be very stressed if it's not ideal. It just have to have different types of orange to look attractive and have the result of interesting rust. I need to wait now for the paint to dry, otherwise it will be I will be just pulling the paint. What I will do now, I will just mix Rhinox hide with orange leather from Scale, but again, you can use any other color you have. And basically I'm doing the same what I was doing with Rhinox hide. I'm just replicating the same step. I'm making lines going into the direction of sun, so I go to the top of the blade, but I'm not covering now the whole area of the blade, so it will be not everywhere the same. It's a little bit more, I would say, random. So here in the top there is more of that orange, but I'm not covering then this area between the blade itself. Okay, so here, as you can see, there is a little bit of previous layers which I'm not covering now anymore. And I'm just trying to do the same here. Now I will be just using the Kalahari orange leather from Scale. Which is diluted again. And I will replicate exactly the same steps, but I will be covering less parts of the blade, and I will try to make lines rather thin. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, so you try to just keep some breaks and space between the lines. And in some places you can just put some dots if it's difficult to access. Like here, I will be not doing lines, but I will be just doing some dots. And something similar here. And then again I start with some lines here. Okay. Then I'm using Kalahari orange, so it's much more vivid. And what I will do, I will now change the brush to have a little bit smaller one, still sharp, to make even smaller lines. And again, I'm replicating the step in a simple way, but I'm trying to be not in every place, so I'm just trying to make those spaces a little bit more random and not so symmetric because it's rust, so it should be a little bit more, you know, chaotic. At least that's my view. And then some dots here, and here I'm not doing lines anymore, I'm just doing with Kalahari orange just the dots in that area. Okay, I can put some random dots maybe here with this color. Alright. And then I'm moving to fire orange, which I will just use in a few places, and I will try to do some lines and dots, but it will be pretty much random. I will put a little bit more here. I just need to make sure that it's sharp. Okay. Okay. And some dots here. And you can use basically different colors if you want for making some final touches and dots like that. It can be dirty green, it can be any type of olive colors. So here I'm using fire orange, so more vivid orange, as some kind of dots and lines here and there, but it's again just in few places, so don't make it everywhere because it will be then too shiny. But if you make it in a subtle way and in chaotic way, it will create a very good impression that okay, something is happening really with this rust. It's not the same everywhere, so that's why you can have a different colors and reflections also of the rust. Now I'm using Sahara yellow, and this one I will be using just in literally few places, like a final touches. So mostly some dots, not too much, because not to be blurred with the non-metallic gold that will be on the other part of an axe. And I would say that's enough. And then what you can do to build a bigger contrast is to create an edge light of a rust here on this part, which looks like C letter, right? So what I'm doing, I can use this Kalahari orange or Kalahari orange mixed with this yellow to have this type of a color, and I need to just for the moment do something like that because it will be easier. So I'm just, you know, touching the brush. Let me check, and I'm just doing something like that. Oh, I just went too much here, but basically with the edge of the brush you create the edge also on an axe, and that's pretty much everything. And again, you can add, if you want, some green olive colors to make it even more dirty. And what is also important, I think, to make it even more realistic is if you compare to already painted miniature. The painted miniature has visible scratches here, and those scratches were created using the same colors as I was using to paint the blade. So here, for example, you have a scratch of a blade using some white and gruff and gray mixed, and I just, you know, use the sculpted area of the miniature of the blade, because in this way there will be even more action happening on that part. So here you have just pure rust, but here you have also a little bit of reflections of the scratches that are sculpted. So it's very easy to paint. You just add you add the color, and you just make a few lines here, and it's done. And I think that's pretty much for painting the rust on this miniature, or how I approach this. So good luck, and leave a comment if you have any questions. Thanks.